Nigel Farage's rivals can't stop saying his name, but why? It's a political phenomenon sweeping the UK. Have they become his PR machine? Are they just responding to the polls, or is there another strategy behind it, and when will it end? So many questions. Let's deal with them all now that a conference season like no other I remember, it really was a peculiar one, is over. The most orderly part of the disorderly month that we've just had was everyone talking about Nigel Farage. Well, almost everyone except for one person. I'll get to that later. Now, the elephant in all of the rooms from Bournemouth to Liverpool to Manchester was the jaw-dropping backdrop that if an election were held today, pretty rigorous polling would suggest a possible Prime Minister Farage. Now, drill into the detail, and reform is way ahead. It's not even close. And yet, they don't even have enough MPs to fill my child-friendly hybrid 7-seater. Now, the investigative journalist Michael Crick wrote the biography of Nigel Farage, published only 3 years ago, and after all of his many hours of research, concluded, yet Farage has never been elected to the House of Commons, never served as a government minister, and will almost certainly never achieve either role. It wasn't just Michael wrong-footed by Nigel. UK politics remains totally unpredictable and quite frankly wild. So what do you do about Nigel Farage if you are an established party in the UK? Well, it seems you talk about him a lot. Stunt-loving Ed Davey told the Liberal Democrat conference they needed to stop Trump's America becoming Farage's Britain, mentioning Farage 31 times in 49 minutes in his speech. Newly crowned Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer is already in defensive mode, insisting multiple times that Britain isn't broken, despite the constant Farage refrain that it is. And he said Farage certainly doesn't like or believe in Britain. Farage certainly didn't like Keir after that, retorting that he was unfit to be Prime Minister. And Zach Polanski, he's the leader of the Greens, talks of a fascist Farage. And just to complete the name-calling bingo, the Sunday Times columnist Matthew Syed, now Conservative, stood up at the Tory conference to outline how Farage is actually a socialist. It's an interesting one. As a strategy, all three leaders of those established parties with 197 years of existence between those parties think attack is the best form of defence. But each time they attack Nigel, he gets a right of reply. It may empower their bases to attack him. But each time, Farage gets a free hit back on social and mainstream media. So, who is the person not talking about Nigel? I'll tell you, but just before that, one more surprising play this week has been Farage tackling one footballer head-on. Ex-Manchester United ace Gary Neville, who the Reform leader accuses of being detached from reality. It's a weird one, this, and I'm not sure where it'll end. It has to do with a Union flag, which the former England right-back and Manchester property developer removed from his building site alongside blaming angry, white, middle-aged men for creating division in the country. Now, who could he have been thinking of without naming anyone called Nigel? Confusingly, lots and lots of Union flags were also handed out by the Labour Party staffers ahead of Sir Keir Starmer's most important conference speech to date to the audience watching on, as a very visual, patriotic gesture and arguably to reclaim the flag from those on the right. Which brings me to the person who mentioned Nigel Farage the least this conference season, adopting a strategy of ignoring him as much as possible. Kemi Badenoch. She who has the most to lose from his ascent, and she who is clear she doesn't want a coalition with the party led by a man she refuses to say whether she admires. So who was it in June that said that the best strategy to counter Nigel Farage is to ignore him? Boris Johnson. Remember him? Well, it's clear who is and isn't taking his advice at the moment, but, and there's always a but, perhaps because morale is so low amongst Boris's lot, two former cabinet ministers told me before conference the Tories have had it. One said the party was dead and that Reform will get into power. There's little to lose for Kemi Badenoch. So what should we look out for to understand where UK politics is heading? Well, with multiple platforms, including his own cable TV show, a large social media following, and now the House of Commons to be heard from, no one is going to silence Nigel Farage. His press conferences do not pull any punches, and his instinct for policy always means he punches well above his weight when it comes to headlines. He's got immigration being talked about in the blue and the red corner, and if he can continue to dominate the polls and get the other parties to believe they're in the fight for their lives against him, almost everyone may well keep talking about Nigel for months to come.